The School of Natural and Built Environment, of which I'm the head, is the newest school in Queens, and it was invented to be an interdisciplinary hub for creative people, mainly to deal with issues to do with the Anthropocene. And obviously the city and urbanism are really important parts of that. And in the school we have planning, architecture, civil engineering, geography and archaeology. Everyone always says that universities should engage with the city and things. And I think because it's good for impact and it's good for research and things, but actually, do you know what? It's really, really, really good for the city. What academics can bring is a sort of neutral voice. A voice of sort of reason that isn't vested. Actually, it is vested. It's vested in the right things for people. And I think that's one of the things Agustina's tried to do over the years. And I suppose one thing that urbanism sort of is that it's an act of affection, isn't it? That you turn up in a city to sort it out. And at first you sort of hate all its foibles and all the problems with it, and then you start to love all the different things about it and how unique it is, and you really start to love it. The voices that need to be heard are the voices that are in this room. It's really interesting that if you look around the room, it's sort of genderless, isn't it? Actually, quite often when I do talks to the city, it's all men in the audience. A lot of people seem to think that development can't happen without trashing the city, and that's also not true. I think what we're saying is we realise that development has to happen, but what we want is to make sure that development doesn't ruin what's really great about the city and actually enhances what the city's about.
The StreetSpace project is a research and teaching project, and it aims to map streets and to understand the different conditions in terms of the way that they are designed, the way they're planned, the way that people perceive them, the way people use them. And it looks at how there might be ways of understanding them differently than normally built environment disciplines do. So we tend to team up with people from many different disciplines like history and geography and anthropology and sociology to find out ways to not only understand, not only show, but also look for alternatives of different ways of intervening in them. And we're trying to make this information available and to have conversations, and we're not trying to give solutions to any of the very complex problems of public spaces and urban spaces, but to maybe find different and more diverse ways of looking at them so we can come up with different and more diverse ways of addressing them. There are certain values that we hold in the team of StreetSpace, like the value of heritage and the value of histories, the value of public space, the value of the different cultures, which can be positive and negative, with the help of a lot of people coming from different disciplines and different types of backgrounds. So for the first time in this two-day workshop, we have people from the Department for Communities, Belfast City Council, Destination CQ of Cathedral Quarter, and people who are involved in one way or another in policy making and in making decisions about how the city should develop.
The idea was that this part of the city is a kind of in-between spaces, in between different times, and it is in transition, so it's completely changing. And it gives the idea of something that is still suspended, and it was interesting to also to discuss about, for example, the meaning of public space, if it is the street, or sometimes we were discussing about these kind of spaces that we called backstage spaces, and to have a pattern of streets that connect these kind of spaces to give the idea that also these spaces could be public and could be alive.
As a public servant, I think it's vitally important that we as public servants make ourselves available to students, particularly students, and to share our experience and practical experience of regeneration of towns with the students, you know, because sometimes we're able to bring a wee touch of realism to their work, you know. They may have ideas, we have to caution them around costs and various other considerations that they maybe haven't quite thought of, but I have really enjoyed picking up the thoughts of other participants from various other cities that have participated over the last couple of days, like Cairo and Bristol, London, and some of the other guest speakers that we've had. It's been very, very informative and interesting, and I generally always pick up something from these types of events that I bring away and try and apply in the course of my work as I move forward with regeneration projects in Belfast. It's always good to steal other people's ideas and plagiarise a bit, so I intend to do that with no shame as I move forward with my own job. There's all sorts of complications with Belfast, and sometimes we can bring an insight to that in terms of what you can do and what you can't do and what you should consider and what you should forget about, basically, you know. So.
It's about getting a diverse group of people who are not necessarily from the city and mixing with people from the city. So it's getting together people, academics, researchers, students, actually practicing people in the industry. So urban designers, planning policy makers, government officials, and I mean it's more than anything, it's getting all these people in the room or a room to talk about issues. And I guess it's the importance is like that diversity and talking around issues with the city with people who can actually make a difference in the city. People who come to StreetSpace love the city they're in, like, I mean, and that's the passion about it. It's local people as well who actually may not be involved in sort of the business side of anything, or they just live in the city, the residents, and they want to make a difference in the city, and they don't have the voice. But by doing a workshop like StreetSpace, it opens up doors. You meet the people that actually can give you the voice, in a sense. So yeah, it's that empowerment, I think, is what's great.